The Beechcraft King Air landed in Washington under escort of several F-16s, which had joined the jet as it was entering Washington airspace. After landing, Al and Bill, accompanied by another group of Marines, boarded Marine One and headed for the White House. After landing on the lawn, Bill, Al, the Marines, and Secret Service agents formed a cocoon around Al and ushered him through the Rose Garden and directly to the West Wing and then to the Oval Office. Standing at the door, a Secret Service agent said, "Please wait here." He then entered the room and closed the door. Al heard the conversation. "He's here, Mr. President," the agent said. "Okay. What do you think, Aaron? Does he look harmless?" the president asked. "There's no way of knowing that, sir. I don't know what he is capable of, only what I have heard from Bill and the Joint Chiefs. It sounds like he could harm any or all of us if he wanted to," Aaron said, his expression showing no emotion. Pausing to think, the president finally said, "Well, here goes nothing. Show the alien in." Aaron, turning and walking to the door, opened it and invited Al and Bill in. Bill, approaching the president, shook his hand and turning to Al said, "Mr. President, may I present Mr. Alien Gray?" Then to Al, Bill said, "Mr. Gray, may I present to you the President of the United States, Dr. James Vernon Moran." Al, stepping toward Dr. Moran, extended his hand. Aaron, flinching and taking a cautionary and protective step forward, stopped as the president, with a barely discernible wave of one finger, staved him off. Dr. Moran took Al's hand and, looking into Al's smiling eyes, said, "It is an honor to meet you, Mr. Gray." "The honor is mine, Mr. President," Al said respectfully. "This is a first for our planet, at least as far as I know. Perhaps at some point, you may be able to enlighten me as to who else may have already come, or if some others are already here," Dr. Moran asked, hinting there may be other extraterrestrials on Earth. "Believe me, sir, I am the only one I know of," Al said honestly. Then he added, "Mr. President, would you mind calling me Al? That's what all my friends call me." "Certainly, Al. And I am going to do something I have been advised never to do in this office, and that is to ask you to call me Jim," the president said, and glancing at Bill. Bill and Aaron glanced at each other in disbelief, but said nothing. "I don't know if I could get used to doing that, sir. Would you be offended if I called you Dr. Moran instead?" Al asked nervously. "Whatever you wish, Al. Thank you for your respectful attitude." "I appreciate that," Dr. Moran said. "Has anyone ever told you you look like Nigel Hawthorne in the movie Amistad, only a lot younger?" Al asked, cocking his head and studying the president. Dr. Moran laughed. "So you think I'm that good looking?" "Oh, better looking," Al said, enthusiastically and embarrassed. "Did you hear that, Aaron? I want you to keep that in mind the next time you tell me I don't look too good, or that I look tired," Dr. Moran chided. "I will keep that in mind, Mr. President," Aaron said, his expression unchanging. "So, Mr. President, I sense that like Martin Van Buren hounded by Queen Isabella, you are going to get hounded to compensate others for what they perceive I am taking from them. I just hope I don't end like Theodore Jodson," Al said, and eyeing the president evenly. "I'll have to get back with you on that one." "I don't recall the movie that well," Dr. Moran said, and looking at Al through skeptical eyes. "And is it just a coincidence that you look exactly like Glenn Morshower, Mr. Aaron?" He was the president's bodyguard in. Al started and changing the subject. Dr. Moran chuckled, as did Bill. "This is an age-old joke around here, Mr. Gray. Believe me, this has been run into the ground by everyone in the White House. To answer your question, I do know I look like Mr. Morshower, and I know there are those who believe I have the same personality." "Thank you for noticing," Aaron said, and straightening his already perfectly fitting jacket. Looking around, Al asked, "Will I get to meet Mr. Garza? I saw him speaking on TV once, and I thought, that guy looks exactly like Alfonso Arau." Dr. Moran burst into laughter, and Aaron sniggered. "My son loved the movie Romancing the Stone, or I wouldn't know who you were talking about," Dr. Moran said. "Well, he had shorter hair than Arau had in the movie," Al admitted. "To answer your question, the Vice President will not be in attendance. This is due to Dr. Moran started. Both the president and vice president can't be together when certain conditions exist. Al finished, knowing that the Secret Service would not allow it. I hope this doesn't offend you in any way, Al, Dr. Moran said apologetically. Oh no, sir. In fact, had I thought about it, I would have been surprised if he was here, Al said, and trying to comfort the president. So, Al, would you like something to drink? A soda, coffee, tea? Dr. Moran asked. Do you have any Capadonich? Al asked, and keeping a straight face. Dr. Moran, wondering if there was any in the White House, started to tell Al he would find out. Al burst into laughter and said, I'm sorry, Dr. Moran. I couldn't help myself. My friend Lou owns a restaurant, the Tannery Bar and Grill, in Portland, and once he invited me to have a drink free. Well, I saw that he had an expensive bottle of Capadonich, and so I told him that's what I would have. He gave me the what for and asked me how I knew it was the most expensive bottle of whiskey he had. I was just having fun, but he bought it. Then one day, we were talking about the fact someday I would meet you, and I told Lou if you offered me something to drink, I was going to ask if you had any Capadonich. He double-dared me, and so I had to do it, Al explained enthusiastically. Bill, Aaron, and Dr. Moran, patiently and attentively, waited for Al to finish his story. Al, Dr. Moran said, you have quite the playful and mischievous sense of humor from all the reports I have. I like that in a young man. I wish I could take life a little less seriously at times. Let my hair down once in a while, so to speak. Well, sir, I have learned that the best way to dispel anxiety, fear, sadness, in fact most negative feelings, is with humor. And do you know that without exception, the root cause of every negative emotion, be it lust, or greed, or envy, or hate, or jealousy, whatever, is fear. Anyway, I do know when being serious is in order as well, and I promise I won't make light of issues I know are important for you, Al explained. Thank you all. I will have to think about the negative emotion part. I don't see how something like sadness has its root in fear, Dr. Moran offered reflectively. No worries. But to answer your question, no thank you. I had some of your beer with the guys on Marine One. I'll tell you, when flying alone, those guys on that chopper are awesome. Thanks for sending them to fly with me, Al said teasingly. I'll have to talk with them about drinking and flying, Dr. Moran said, and chuckling. Bill and Aaron again exchanged glances, and both thought, I've never seen the president in such good spirits and jesting with anyone like this. Let's all sit on the sofas, if you don't mind all. Getting down to business if we may. I'm sure you are aware of the posters springing up across the country, and the YouTube piece by Gene Witherspoon. It has caused quite the stir, has gone viral, Dr. Moran said after everyone, with the exception of Aaron, who felt more comfortable standing behind the president, had sat and was comfortable. I heard something about it, but I wasn't fully informed what it was all about, Al confessed. Well, let me say you are quite the celebrity, and you will be even more so once everyone finds out what you are, Dr. Moran said, sitting and getting comfortable. I never wanted to be a celebrity. I simply have a mission. Did you tell him about the mission, Bill? Al asked, and addressing Bill. We briefly touched on it. But that is something you can explain to Dr. Moran yourself, Bill offered, and shifting on the couch. Before we launch into that, I heard you were quite the mind reader, Dr. Moran said. Mr. President, we should not go there, Aaron interrupted, and stepping toward Al. Aaron, what harm could a small demonstration do? Dr. Moran asked, and turning to look at Aaron. Well, to begin with everything that is in your head a great deal, Aaron stated matter of fact. Aaron, if Al is what he says he is, and if he does have the ability to do what I have heard, then he already knows everything that is in my head as well as yours. I understood before I invited him into the room that there was going to be a serious issue with national security. This is a monumental day in the history of this planet. I believe we need to show faith in our guest. Otherwise, how can he trust us? To have a friend, you have to be a friend. That's what my mother always told me, Dr. Moran said, and turning back to look at Al.